Scholars, welcome back to the Counselor's Office. I'm Mr. Game Counselor, and we are back with another react. That's right. We're reacting to Marathon, and yes, only a couple days, and this thing is going to be out of the oven, so to speak. We'll see how it goes. Surprisingly, my my honest impressions has been fairly, received well. Obviously, there's a bunch of people that agree with most of what I said. There's obviously people that don't. I think there's like 100 and something likes versus like 15 dislikes, something like that. And not that the comment section is very tame. I was expecting more pushback from the Cult of Bungie, but I guess when you've played it, you spend a lot of time on it, and you give pretty fair criticisms, you're the least important thing for people to focus on. Especially, I've seen people go absolute ape shit on Twitter about other content creators and their takes. So I guess I'm small compared to what's actually going on. But there was this topic, and yes, we're reacting to Very Dark. I've reacted one time. I tend to not do the most extreme reactions. I just don't want to get involved in like certain aspects. It's not me. I don't care. But the topic itself, I do care about Marathon. The whole situation with people wanting to hide the player counts. So I'm gonna react to this and see what this is about. But I've already seen this tweet, so this tells me that I'm on the right track, because boy, there's some stupid people, especially from the Destiny. We're gonna call out a couple of content creators that are freaking retarded. So we're gonna jump in and see what it's all about.
Media over the past couple of days. I know a lot of people are saying you need to give the game time to flourish.
Hold on. We definitely need to give the... There we go. I just had to increase the sound.
Surely, upon full release, the player counts will be quadrupled compared to the Server Slam weekend. But
I think that's cope. I think, and I'm going to say this now. Yes, Arc Raiders, their slam was pretty high, and after it released, it did massively go up, but not like, okay, massive, like, I don't know, 400, 500K on Steam. But we're also talking about a game that's more catered toward casuals versus Marathon, which is definitely more hardcore. I don't think you will see the same outcome as Arc Raiders, and that's just being very honest with the situation.
But while I don't think that is going to be the case, it might be, though ultimately there are people now demanding that things like Steam DB do not exist because they think it is too mean for the developers to be criticized based on player counts, and that it's made gaming discussions too toxic.
Or if you guys use the Steam, you just want good games, Guys, no one wants games good. No one ever looks at good games. Everyone wants bad games to be bad. Meanwhile, Resident Evil is over here stunting on bitches. Yeah, this is why we look at it, because you see a trend. You see what the trend is? This not only is this one of the probably the best Resident Evil that's ever come out. This might actually be game of the fucking year. With how fucking okay, hold on. Grand Theft Auto is coming out. Let's hold that. But who knows? We'll see how Grand Theft Auto, or if it's delayed. Let's see. But it literally is gonna. I guarantee will win a award in the Game Awards for sure. But I think it could be Game of the Year. It's really good, and the trend shows that it absolutely does. So you can look at the data and say, oh, people still want single player campaigns, which is funny because a literal developer, I forgot whose ass what it was, that said people are engaging with single players or don't want single player games as much. And this is obviously, when you look at the data and see that that's a fucking lie. And that's why people do it, because it keeps companies honest. It keeps people honest. They can't just make up what a fucking narrative they want. You look at the data and be like, oh, yeah, people still love single player games. It shows.
I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I always think it's hilarious when people say, we need less transparency. You shouldn't be able to see the player counts of a game because it means you can criticize the developers easier.
And that's exactly what it is. People, and I bet I could find some quotes too. I bet I could find some more. It's funny because you also see the goalpost being moved. Let me tell you, the Cult of Bungie has moved the goalposts for marathon so much they could literally make a golf course with how many goals they've said. Guys, it's the middle of the workday. Come Saturday, and this is about the same. Again, these people will make absolutely every excuse possible, and it's crazy.
Oh, it makes gaming discourse so toxic. Blah, blah, blah. You are just mad that your favorite developers are being criticized, or developers you agree with politically can be judged based on
I don't care about people's politics. I could give two fucks.
Player counts. Yes, some games are just going to be failures. Sometimes games, well, all games, each and every game will eventually lose players and dwindle.
This is fair. Every game will have its life. And let's look at Warframe. Warframe. It's very they had that's pretty much on par with we're talking about Marathon. But they also have mobile phones like iPhone. They also have Apple. They have Switch 2 now. They have every possible platform, so that most likely they will have more than what Marathon has, including consoles. But their peak on Steam, you could be like, oh, that's all right. But here's the reality, and this is the conversation that no one wants to have. This Warframe is not I wouldn't say popular as in Call of Duty, Fortnite, millions of players. It might have millions of players now. It's all the consoles and stuff and phones. It might be that popular. I don't know. But on Steam, if we're just basing on Steam numbers, it's got its niche community. And the developers, Digital Extremes, obviously have been going since 2013, 2011. I don't know. It's been quite some time, right? They can afford. They're doing well. They're continuing to crank out content. They seem like they're going to continue on. So they're set in where they're at. They're okay with where they're at with their player base and their community. And I think games, as long as the developers or the publishers are okay with where they're at, at sales, and they're not they're not Fortnite, they're not CSGO with millions of players. If they're okay with where they're at and financially it works out, then, obviously lower numbers isn't going to be that big. Obviously they would love more numbers, more money. But if you are sound with where you're at, it won't matter. I don't think that's going to be the case for Bungie at all. I don't, especially Sony. Sony shut down Bluepoint, shut down other studios, had Bungie have layoffs. There's been, negativity with Bungie losing them, $204 million. Let's just say that the heat is on Bungie right now. And I don't think, even if this was considered a success from players, it may not be a success, for Sony, because they're greedy assholes.
But at the same time, when a game is new, it is very easy to judge its success or failure based on how many players are in game. And they're just mad that we are.
By the way, I'll piggyback. This is a free demo. That means there's no bar to entry. This means if you want to play and you are enjoying it, you will continue to play it. You will continue to try it out and continue to learn, because, and especially extraction shooters, knowledge is advantage. If you understand the map, you understand guns, you understand the systems. There are people it's a double-edged sword. People will use this saying, if people say they don't like it, or it's too much, or it's not fun from the get-go, they love to use the excuse of, well, that's because you haven't given enough time. Well, see, that's the thing. If people are having fun, they will give it enough time. They will explore it. They will continue playing it. And if they're not, the numbers show that, which obviously people weren't sticking around to continue to progress and learn more about what the game offers.
Are able to very quickly have a glance into the world of the video game and what is potentially going on
Exactly.
behind the scenes. So there are several posts like this online. Let's start out with this one from Lumina saying Steam player counts being public is the worst thing to happen to gaming in recent time. Mentality of if this game going in a niche genre doesn't outperform every game ever released, it's DOA. Like, holy shit.
That's the thing. So here's again, I was saying this. I think Marathon's a niche. It's a very niche. It's actually is very niche. I think it will never be as successful as Arc Raiders in the player population. Which again, not every game needs to be at a significant level. We saw that with Warframe, even though it's probably got a shit ton of players across the board with how many available, access, how much access you have to it. The reality is, Sony probably does want it to outperform and compete with Arc Raiders. They want to dominate. They want to take a piece of the pie. You don't just make a game and just throw it out there unless you think you can take something from that genre. If that was the case, they would just make a regular first-person shooter game like arena shooter. But they didn't even bother to try to compete with, Call of Duty or do a BR. They did an extraction shooter, which at the moment when they probably start working on it was just Tarkov. And then Arc Raiders came out, and then Arc Raiders announced, its existence. Then Delta Force, and then there's another one that's out there, and then there's even more extraction shooters now coming out. Like this is the trend, and they're trend chasing. And with Arc Raiders kind of putting its dick on the table and saying, hey, we've got room for casuals, guess what happens? The casuals go. And you can hate on casuals. You can say casuals are ruining gaming. But casuals give you money. And guess what? Greedy corporations don't give a shit how loyal you are. They don't give a fuck about if you're okay with a niche community. They want money. Now, not to say Arc Raiders doesn't care, but I'm telling you, from Sony's perspective, they absolutely want money. However, with the clapback that they got with making Marathon 2 casual, and you could still see remnants of the casuality of Marathon with like the res system where you can completely die and then still be rezzed and there's no like limit. You could just consistently keep dying and then your teammate can res you. And there's not even, I don't know, like it's absurd how easy it is. As long as you rat away, you can come back as long as your teammates run away, live another day. Just run. It is interesting. Now, most people who are in the more competitive side of things are probably going to go either live by the gun or die by the gun. They're not going to run away, but some will.
I can't put into words how stupid it is. And now it'll be every game released. Now, this is happening around the time that
it should be every game that's released that's put under the microscope. After the years of being forced to have to accept bare minimum products and the fact that we are expected to eat shit and like it, like, I'm tired of Pokemon games being half-assed. I'm tired. People are tired of Call of Duty. That's why this year's was the worst in the many years that they've had sales-wise. Like, we saw everyone absolutely shit on the campaign. It was awful. Like, you might as well taken LSD to understand what the fuck was going on. Like, there's reasons why people are now using data to show, hey, you think people want this. No one fucking wants this shit.
Marathon's server slam is happening and people are discussing player numbers. But in recent time, yes, we have criticized games like Concord. We have criticized games like High Guard, games like Relooted. All these titles have had low player counts. And
man, you could just talk about other games. Like, you're talking about all like live service. You could talk about Suicide Squad. You could talk about Marvel's Avengers. There was the Dragon Age Veilguard. Like, their list continues. There's a bunch of games that were awful and just didn't do well. There's games that have been abandoned. Like, there was the Wrestle game, the Battle Royale Wrestle game from Epic Store. Like, that one died off instantly. The the cycle, which is kind of similar to, honestly, kind of is the cycle itself kind of reminds me of Marathon, but it's a BR. It had the futuristic kind of style to it, and it died off. Like, there's plenty of games that you can put under our umbrella that weren't necessarily successful and or just didn't have longevity. And that's kind of like the reality of Marathon is it successful in Bungie and Sony's eyes? Is Bungie able to continue to keep the longevity? And I think, and I'm going to be very fair here, Arc Raiders is starting to show, that they're slipping up. Like, they did some updates, but you're seeing some of the most dedicated players criticize the lack of content that's being pushed out for that game. And eventually, once you eat up and there's nothing really new or fresh, you get tired of doing the same-o. And that's why extraction shooters kind of live and kind of die by wipes, because if they eat up all the content too soon, then people stop playing and go elsewhere, and then they come back for a wipe to see what's new. Like, that's how you bring people back. But if you're also doing updates and you're not actually releasing new stuff, then people are less likely to stick for a wipe. And so Marathon has to do what I think Arc Raiders in this first iteration of their update is failed to do, is actually keep it fresh. Can Bungie do that? I don't know. I don't believe they can. I have no faith in them because how they've done Destiny, I have no faith. Now, will they do it because their ass is on the burner and they have no choice? They either sink or swim. Who knows? Maybe they'll push something out. But I think there's a lot more components when we talk about success and failure. A lot of it hinges on Sony. Like, we as gamers, you could love it, praise it. It could be popping. And if it doesn't make the value and money that Sony wants, well, you might become another Blue Point.
Shockingly enough, they failed. It's almost like studios need players in order for their games to be successful. But going into a discussion about this doesn't really exist with these types of people, because they believe what they are saying is the most logical answer. And
they think that they live in their little box, that, there's a whole majority of people who are actually giving fair criticism. They see unwarranted hate, and they put it all in the box and say, guys, look at this. This is what people who don't like Marathon think. And they put all criticism in the same box, and it's very disingenuous.
In this case, the logical answer is getting rid of Steam player count numbers because they don't like games being criticized based on their low player counts. I mean, you can't make this shit up.
No.
This person said, now this tweet isn't against Danny on PC, but after seeing the 750,909,876th post about Steam numbers, I'm convinced a petition should be started to shut down SteamDB. We should not be allowed to see.
These are people who are scared. And here's why. Normal people, everyday Joes, are going to play Marathon, and they're not going to give a fuck about player count. The people who are upset about seeing player count are the cult of Bungie and content creators. This is a reality check right here. Content creators live by the paycheck of what game they play. And a lot of Bungie content creators live based on Bungie's success. Destiny is dying, and we're seeing a lot of content creators flee and try to salvage what they can. I mean, you've got content creators literally criticizing people for not giving them free primes. Like, that's a different video for another time. Yeah. The people are coming, they're revealing their true selves when money, is not coming in anymore. If Bungie dies, they no longer have a paycheck. A lot of these people depend on Bungie or, Destiny, and some of them are throwing their all their eggs in the basket of Marathon. It don't do well. That's their job. That's their career. And for the cult of Bungie people who aren't getting paid, well, if Bungie dies, so does their personality.
player counts for any game anymore, nor how many are viewing on Twitch, which is so funny. So you are saying that a platform like Twitch shouldn't have viewer counts anymore because, sure, even if they got rid of categories, you could still view the individual streamers' numbers. How fucking stupid do you have to be to actually sit here and argue for less transparency? These are the types of people
Amen.
that will sit inside with a platform like Discord, forcing age verification and then not having to disclose their third-party partners because
I have a hot take. I think age verification is good in certain places like Twitter. Damn kids don't need to be on fucking like Twitter. And I know, like, if there was a way to do it where you're not giving a random ass company your personal information, and it was like if it was ran by the government, the government already knows who the fuck you are anyways. They literally give you your license. So if it's information that you could send to the government, they send just a, hey, okay, hey, this is a real person, and they could check box, I would be cool with that. Sorry, I've not really talked about that, but just know I don't like this how age restriction is done, but I'm okay with the concept of it.
well, who cares about transparency anymore? There's a reason that stupid takes like this get wrecked on social media.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of people get their shit pushed in. And let's look at another one, because I've got shit like this. We got, it's Bobby Socks. I'm craving violence. Marathon's lowest point is still higher than Tarkov's. Noticing. It's one extraction shooter to the server slam of another extraction shooter. However, there is one, it's very deceptive. It's like they are so desperate to try to get people to make it seem like it's not a big deal or that Marathon's doing better than what people think. It is so disingenuous because this game, Tarkov, has been around since 2000 and what, 15, 16, and it's been in early access for years. Then you have people like this. 90% of Tarkov players don't play on Steam. This makes no sense. Exactly. Oh, so you do understand that Steam charts aren't indicative of the full player base then. And this is another deceptive argument. They know what they're doing. They're being little snakes, because this is not a situation of, oh, we're ignoring console, because Steam does show trends. They shows trends. And here's the reality. 90% of the player base bought, consume, and have played on the Battle State launcher since this game came out. Why the fuck would someone buy it again on Steam? Why the fuck would anyone move away from the launcher that they're used to using for Tarkov to then go to Steam? Sure, there will be some that do that for convenience, but most people will maintain it. It's like Fortnite. If they decide to let Steam have a piece of the Fortnite pie for some fucking reason. Do you think everyone from the Epic launcher is just going to jump ship to Steam? No, you dumb fuck. Like, that's the mentality. We're not making honest, an honest comparison would be the Arc server slam to the Marathon slam, a game that started on Steam on console versus something that was never on PC, or sorry, never on Steam. Like, what are we fucking talking about? So again, it's these deceptive dickbags, and that's what they are, because they know what they're doing. They're not being logical. They're being deceptive. They think people are too stupid to know what they're doing. And I hate people like this, because it's not a fair criticism. It's not a fair counter argument. You're warping data to fit your narrative. Whereas Marathon, it's just the data. It's a trend. Marathon isn't going to be starting on the Marathon launcher first and then years later show up on Steam. It is starting on Steam, fresh. Bam, there it is. Again, comparing to Arc Raiders is the fair. Using Tarkov, it's not a fair comparison. It's just a an attempt to get an easy win for people who are looking at data. And it's just lackluster. Like, try harder, kid.
And why people don't take individuals like this seriously. And yes, we know that
You
Marathon.
shouldn't. And here's the deal. I'm going to say something that is very, very controversial, and it shouldn't be. Never, ever get your opinion from people that are literally in the works with Bungie. Content creators, literally content creators, do not trust a damn one of them. Do not. Especially if they're Destiny content creators, they're Marathon content creators. Don't trust them. You're better off watching some random no schmo on the internet who's just playing for fun versus someone who's paying for a living. Because like I said, these people are living the symbiotic relationship that they need Bungie, they need Marathon to exist and to pay those bills.
Did peak at 143,621 for its server slam weekend. And there's been people arguing that, oh, well, who would want to play a game where your progress doesn't carry over for the full release? First of all, if you hit
let's look at a comment like that. By the way, Bobby Sox is getting his ass beat in the comments section because everyone's calling him out. I know, I'm just showing you an excuse to show game value. Again, everyone's calling him out like what value? A game that was out 9 years ago? You are retarded. You lying by omission. It proves you're retarded. You're actually retarded. Yeah, it's good to see people like this, these Bungie shills, get their shit pushed in because they're fucking retarded. Now, back to the comment she was talking about. This is what she's talking about. I'm confused. Are people supposed to grind countless hours into Server Slam that isn't going to carry over at all? I don't get it. Oh, guys, I don't understand why people will continue playing a game they enjoy. Guys, what? You mean people don't want... Why would they continue to play? I don't get it. What, you're having fun and you got off? What? What is that? What does that mean?
certain points and achievements throughout this server slam, you do get rewards when the full game launches.
You get packages that kickstarts you, and guess what? Anything is value and anything can help you. Also, you're getting knowledge. You're understanding the runner perks. You're learning all the map locations, which, by the way, and even in Call of Duty and competitive, knowing map knowledge is an advantage. So again, this whole concept of why would they continue to play if it has no value? There is value. And above all else, they would continue playing because it's fun. Who would have thunk that?
Regardless, if people are not willing to test your game out when it is free, why do you expect people to play your game
even on
when
Saturday?
It is a paid?
On Saturday, this thing should have shot back up with new or refreshed new players. It never refreshed with new players, or if it did, it was at a lower rate. Welcome to reality.
Entry. And yeah, I'm not sitting here and saying that this game is going to completely flop. Bungie has a lot of fans.
I don't think it's going to flop in the sense that people want it to be dead in 2 weeks. Or, I think the worst case, what will happen is that it won't do as well, and we will see layoffs. The best case scenario from what I would like to see is Bungie dissolved because they fucking deserved it. But outside of that, I do generally believe there will be layoffs. Or absorption. They'll have some more people absorbed into Sony itself versus like a hard layoff. But who knows? It's Sony. They've canned multiple studios, and who knows whether they're like, you know what, we're going to have a heart, or nah, fuck it, live on the street. It's time to put the fries in the bag.
Nearly 143,000 people is just the all-time peak. There's probably like 2 million people that ended up downloading it. But at the same time, when you are seeing a drastic drop like this in only 24 hours from 143 to 46, and the lowest point was 33,638, it doesn't bode well. It doesn't look very well. And right now, in the middle of an afternoon on a Sunday, it's at 51,000. Maybe it'll go up a little bit more, but yesterday's peak was 76,000. So it's not a good look. And yes, I get that there are people out there who want to defend Bungie and defend these activist developers, and they just want to run damage control for these companies. But you have to understand why transparency is important.
Yep.
It is because companies can just lie. They can say
and they do. And it's funny because not only have we caught Bungie deleting videos with negative comments. We've seen them delete comments itself, and we've seen possible botting. Also, by the way, this is not just Marathon. We saw with Destiny, we saw people on Twitter showing that they called out and ratioed Bungie for their Destiny tweet, and then they deleted that tweet, and everyone saw it. So, like, this whole concept that Bungie doesn't try to control how they look is such a lie. They absolutely do. And so when you have actual data that they cannot control, it's important to look at it because they want to sculpt and it's not just Bungie, it's other companies as well that will try to sculpt and look better than what they really do.
Our game is doing great. Our game is doing phenomenal. Our game is absolutely crushing the competition right now. And they don't have to prove it.
Nope.
It is a reason why there are so many developers now who will boast about 3 million players or 4 million players or 5 million players, not 5 million sales or 5 million copies.
Guys, we had 4 million people play it. Okay, but how many of those actually paid you? Call of Duty. Yeah, so how many are playing on Game Pass because they don't want to buy your actual shit anymore? They'd rather spend like the $15 or $10 for PC to play your new release and cancel the subscription. Yeah. How's that working? Oh, by the way, apparently Call of Duty is going to be removed day one from Xbox Game Pass. Oh, man, who would have thought?
Sold. And this is why transparency is important. If you don't understand that, you are a lost cause. And I can't say I'm particularly shocked.
I'll say it. You're a retard.
Given this person is a TTV affiliate, it says that they're
This is a person that's living by the dick of Bungie. I don't give a shit what their abbreviation is. I don't care.
Her, they've got all these flags in their bio, but
I don't care about. You know what I care about? I don't look at flags. I look at the icon. If it's anime or animals, there's a 90% chance they're a retard.
They also talk about marathon hype, so this is clearly a Bungie shill, and then this.
And that's just for people who have awful takes. Like if you look at their icon, if they have animal or an anime, there's a 90% chance they're gonna say something retarded. That's just the reality. Not saying that everyone that does. You're one of the few that if you have a profile and you're like, I have a tame take, you're a normal person. I'm not talking about you.
Person says that they yap about games and they've got 25K on TikTok, so
wow,
they are just looking for attention and a post to go viral. But there's a reason why people like this are getting absolutely wrecked. Nah, player counts are important metric to gauge a game, especially in the multi/competitive games. No.
Oh no, you skipped it. Player count, which can change drastically with any update at any point for any given game. Not saying it's useless, but sure isn't a reliable measure. No, it is. What do you mean? Why is she not talking about this? Can drastically change with any update. Yeah. If the let's use Arc Raiders as a perfect example. They just released update. If it doesn't meet the expectation of the player base, then the numbers go down. Who would have thought? They didn't provide with the content that people were expecting for the game that they love. And if you don't do that, players stop playing. And guess what? They're not playing. They're not spending money. If they're not spending money, you're not making a profit. Look, see how that works? That's crazy.
Don't look at how bad these games are doing. No. So the comment section isn't going the way you planned. You're actually just mad the games for you can't fake success. Do the meme, leave the alone, the multi-million-dollar company.
That is 90% of the Bungie bros.
No, journalists can no longer lie and say that a game is a super blockbuster mega smash hit.
I'm going to be honest. IGN's trying to spin the wheels. PC Gamer's trying to spin the wheels. It has been funny watching Paul Tassi go full like schizo. He's like, what, here? Oh, do I hate Marathon? Do I make it like, okay, he doesn't hate it, but do I do things about bad things about Marathon? Is good? Is it bad? Is good? Is bad? And he's just, listen, he's just trying to report what's going on. He's trying to get, he doesn't understand the pulse because it's so back and forth. It's 50-50. And he's like, but my friends at Bungie, because he's so paid by Bungie. Like it's obvious after his trip to Bungie. You can tell his mentality and his perspective and how he handles things with Bungie completely is altered. So you can just see this back and forth where he's like, I'm trying to be a journalist, but at the same time, fuck.
LOL. Games that are considered successful that either had a rough start or never hit astronomical numbers. You have titles like Factorio. You have titles like Stardew Valley, Subnautica, Hades. But again, there is a big fucking difference between a game that had a $1 million budget or even a $500,000 budget versus a game coming from a studio like Bungie that was purchased for $3 million.
Also, you're talking about some of these are like small games. We're not even talking about indie games. Claire Obscura. Like, Claire Obscura just shit down the throat of AAAs. Mugenics. Yeah, there's a lot of games out there that are small, itty bitty, and they're popping the fuck off. I wonder why.
Owned now by one of the largest companies in the video.
By the way, it's $3.6 billion. $3.6 billion that Sony spent.
Game industry. Something like Marathon had tens of millions of dollars put into it, and after all of the rehauls, I bet that they spent over $100 million on it. Versus a game like, I don't know, Factorio,
delayed multiple times,
hitting 118,000 all-time peak when it was made by a tiny team of people who probably didn't even get paid during the development cycle. So there's a very, very different argument to be made there about the cost of a game versus how much.
Okay. Like, and people wonder why, like, listen, I'm a dickhead, and I'll call people Bungie ball fondlers and shit, but, like, come on.
It actually brings
like, I'll say retard because it's a universal, anyone could be a retard, versus, like, very specific slurs. You'll never catch me doing that because I'm not that much of a dickhead.
Like, if you've got a team of 2 people who made a game and, I don't know, paid themselves, I don't know, $15K for the development cycle versus a Bungie who is worth billions of dollars, it's different. Do you happen to work for Ubisoft? And it brings up how Ubisoft wanted Steam to hide concurrent player count data because it made it harder for them to lie about their player count.
And boy, do they've lost so much. Ubisoft is just a dumpster fire. If it wasn't for PlayStation, I think Bungie would have already been dead, to be honest, and we know they would have.
And to fake their player counts, and well, it hasn't worked out in their favor so far because SteamDB's just going no, Steam's going no, and these big companies want this to happen, but it's not. So this discussion is so stupid, in my opinion. Sitting here arguing for less transparency is an insane take to have, but it's coming from Shell, so I can't say I'm shocked, but I'll be keeping my eye on Marathon and how it's doing.
And it's shills. It's because people that like Marathon don't give a fuck. That's the truth. The little nugget for the end of the video. People who are not shills do not give a fuck about player counts. They don't. They're not upset if it's slow. They don't. They might be excited that there's a lot of people, but they just want to play the fucking game. That's all they care about. People who are getting upset about player counts, numbers being examined, people that are upset that people have the ability to look at it, are people who are insecure in their decision to like something, insecure in the fact that the game may not be as successful, especially content creators. It's mostly them, by the way. Insecure in the fact that they might not have they might have to put the fries in the bag. They're insecure in the fact that, their Bungie, their poor friends at Bungie might not make it. They might have to put fries in the bag too. Like, that's the reality. Normal day-to-day gamers do not give a fuck. Hell, normal gamers probably aren't even on fucking Twitter unless you're doing it for content. Outside of that, most people, to think that everyone who likes something is on Twitter is just a lie. So that's the reality. It's mostly shills. And you really can tell because they don't hide the stupidity that comes out of their mouth. But I'm Mr. Game Counselor. Hit the like button. I don't agree with everything that she talks about and how she presents it. But the reality is, she right. She right about the whole the Steam count. It is transparency, it's accountability, and people who don't like that, it's because they have something to hide. And well, you're not gonna be hide from us, bitches. I'll see you next time. As always, viva la revolution! It is time to take gaming back.